I'm Tom.
And we are VIMTV, Velocities in Music, the best kept secret in music reviews. Today, we're going to jump right into it. We're going to review the new album from an artist called Santigold with the album title. I actually like this album title a lot. Master of My Make-Believe. Kind of playing off, you know, a Mr. Rogers-esque idea. This is a very dense, electronic-centered album with vocals that, you know, Santi White is the main artist here, and her vocal style kind of reminds me of like Lana Del Rey, only less. I don't want to precept that type of sound on this, but you get where I'm going with that, that vocal style. It's kind of more of a middle of the road. She doesn't have a very high voice, and I like that. I think it sounds very nice. But really what you're seeing is a variety of different genres on this album, all within that kind of, with the same songwriting palette of just electronic beats and synths and things like that, with the occasional guitar accent. And I think that it's a really intriguing sound that I like. Tom, how would you describe the sound, and what were your favorite aspects of it?
Well, it reminded me a lot of, at times, Grimes mixed with some MIA, because you have sometimes the kind of airy singing, and sometimes you have the more aggressive rapping, and you also get that not only in the vocals, but in the music itself and in the beats. Sometimes the beats are really aggressive, really pounding, but there's still a sense of atmosphere.
Yeah, I like the level of complication that are in the beats. It keeps it very interesting.
Yeah, and you know, instead of just being that kind of like kick drum or bass drum and snare, that kind of thing, there's lots of kind of, like, it has a more exotic approach. There's lots of like kind of conga sounds and things like that, so you feel like you're going through this weird kind of electronic safari with, you know, Santigold being the ringleader. And I mean, I really liked this album, actually. I didn't love it, but I was actually fairly impressed by it. I thought, for me, there wasn't really a terribly weak track on here. There were some clear highlights, and there's some that weren't quite as good, but there weren't any that I just didn't enjoy. I mean, even a track like Look at These Hoes, that's the kind of Nicki Minaj stuff you'd expect me to hate, but I actually, by that point in the album, she wasn't doing that stuff the whole time, so it made it okay for me, and I actually ended up liking that track. But I know I like this album a little more than you. This is probably one of the biggest disagreements that we've had in a while, because Jake liked this a lot less than I did.
Yeah, I'm not liking this one. I think that there's some really good aspects to it, like I mentioned before. But overall, one thing that really bothered me about this album was the genre hopping. I feel like you're getting a lot of indie electronic, but she also like throws in a little attempt at reggae in there. There's even some at the end. She randomly just goes into hip hop with the track "Look at These Hoes," which to me I thought was a good hip hop track, but in context with the album didn't make a lot of sense. So by the time I got to it, I was like, what is this, and why is it here? It totally kind of disrupted my listening experience, which I'm a little bit of a snob about. And on top of that, I felt like throughout this album, the vocals never really lived up to what their full potential could be. And I think that part of that was, blame is on the production. It got kind of lost in the mix there.
Yeah, sometimes it did.
But White's vocals never really felt like they had this commanding passion about that really just pulled me in and gave me a warrant to love the music. Otherwise, I'm just listening to just some laptop music, and I want more than that. I want a reason to love and care about the music, and I never really got that. So I think that that's a big reason why I didn't attach to this music as much. It sounds like you were able to attach to it a little bit more. As a listening experience, I didn't feel like it flowed very well. I felt like you know, I would have tracks that, oh, these are good tracks, and then this is kind of a weaker track, and then I'd just have a different style in there, and then have to kind of keep going that direction, and it just didn't feel like one cohesive listening experience. It was kind of just a jointed thing, and it's kind of just awkward. There were tracks that I really liked, and there were some tracks that I didn't, so that kind of pushed it down a little bit for me. What were some of the other aspects that you kind of felt were strong?
I think she was really good at establishing a mood, a personality, and then having the melodies to go along with it. And which for me is just a killer. It's in a good way. I mean, that really just makes it memorable for me. A lot of these tracks did come off as being memorable. I'd get them stuck in my head. I enjoyed them while I was listening to them. They had good energy, good attitude. It was one of those where she was able to switch to kind of a sentimental side, but it didn't come off like Nicki Minaj. You know, it came off as more believable because she wasn't just being, you know, when she's being aggressive, she's not being overly pompous, and when she's being sentimental, she's not just focusing on herself. And so that ability to approach themes beyond herself, you know, on both the intense side and the softer side, really makes me able to attach to the music a little more.
Yeah, and I think that's just where the difference in opinion comes in, because I just wanted a statement. I just wanted a blatant, hey, make a statement, stick to it, and leave me with it. Let me really take away and meditate on it. So, good call, Tom.
Yeah.
I'm going 67.
Yeah.
I think that's right.
I'm going 76.
All right, so a little bit of a disagreement here. It'll average out. The beauty of what we do is that when Tom likes an album, or I like an album, and the other person doesn't, the scores kind of average out in the middle, so you guys get a nice indication of where this album is at. So, a low 70 score for us is kind of a good point, a starting point for you guys to know this album has some really good qualities. It's something that you should check out, that you may really love, or you might go, it's okay. So anyways, we'd love to hear your thoughts, so please listen to this and tell us what you think at www.velocitiesandmusic.com or youtube.com/velocitiesandmusic. Please follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook. That's where we do all of our talking with our fans, and you guys are what make VIMTV what it is today. So thanks for your participation. I'm Jake.
I'm Tom.
And we are VIMTV, moving music critique forward.